Hi folks, come out and see us at Backyard Spa and Leisure here at 4105 Southwestern. Come out and see the finest selections of sunrooms, pergolas, hot tubs, outdoor kitchen and living space, everything for the backyard. Give us a call.
Welcome to Pigskin Review. We have a special playoff edition. We've talked about the season flew by, and now it's time for the games that count.
Lance, can you believe it? It seemed like only just a few days ago it was late August, and we were talking about the opening of the football season. Now we're talking about the postseason. And by the way, I'm Jon Mark Beilue, columnist of the Globe News.
And I'm Lance Lahnert, sports editor of the Globe News. And Jon Mark, you're so correct. We had all these questions to be answered. Would Randall rebound? How about the new coach at Amarillo High and Mel Maxfield? And now they're all answered?
They're all answered, and here we are in the postseason. Now it's everybody kind of starts over again. Of course, we got seedings based on how you fared, if you won your district, if you're number 1 or 2 or 3 seed. But anyway, they all begin actually Thursday night through Saturday, Lance, and it's going to be some good opening ball games.
We've got the Shamrock Irish in the playoffs, Jon Mark, Thursday night at Dick Vivint Stadium. We've been covering this 50-plus years between us, and we have a unique situation where we don't see Shamrock in the playoffs very often, and we have a unique situation where we have 3 teams, Jon Mark, who won't play a playoff game for 3 weeks in between games.
Well, that's what you have with that additional division in classes 1A and 2A. So Canadian and Fritch and Wellington both had byes at the end of the season. Their last game, regular season bye. Then they have a bye because they're the number 1 seed in one district, and so they go
and then
2
the week
and then
to
the week to prepare. So they've got 3 weeks.
You're going to get all your players healthy. There's no excuse not to have 3. Everybody's going to be fresh. I don't see a negative on this.
You have all types of options that you can do to spend this 3 weeks, but it's an enviable position to be in. Well, let's talk about some of these games that some of these players who have open dates and are getting ready for the playoffs will see or could see. Let's start in 4A, Lance. We got Randall, who more than last year they were 1-9, weren't even thinking of playoffs were nothing. They were in basketball by this time. Now they've turned that completely around. They face a team in Lake Dallas.
Right, yeah, they'll be in Sweetwater, Texas, so this is a great emotional game for them. Like you talked about, Randall did stub their toe a little bit at the end with a loss to Hereford. No big deal there, great game. That's a tough place to play. You've covered several games there. So Coach Wood has Randall on a roll. I think they're primed actually to get a playoff win here with their ability. They're really not a one-dimensional team, Jon Mark. They're probably our most balanced offense, defense, special teams we have coming out of 4A.
Yeah, you look at their 2 losses this year, I think 1 by 1 to Caprock and 1 by 3 to Hereford. So they're 4 points away from being 10-0, and I think they'll do well in this first game.
Yeah, I do too. Let's go to Wichita Falls. Let's hit Paladuro. This is a Saturday night game. Oh my gosh, they got the Beast in Denton Ryan, one of the top teams in the state of Texas.
Ryan is 10-0, ranked in the top 10, and for good reason. And Paladuro less than 100% going into this game, and it's a big challenge for the Dons, no question about it.
You have a veteran coach in Steve Parr refusing to make any excuses. Oh, we got Denton Ryan next. They got to play somebody. So, but you made a good point. They can get their running backs healthy. They set out that whole second half, Jon Mark, against the Rock, and we'll see. I'm sure there's some strategy in that.
Well, I think as long as Paladuro can stay close, they've played a tough schedule this year. They played some quality 5A teams. If they can keep it close early, gain a little bit of confidence. I'm not saying they'll pull an upset, but I think they'll count well for themselves.
Friday night, Caprock, first time since 1975 in the playoffs. They have Wichita Falls Rider on their home turf.
Boy, the last time they were in the playoffs, Lance, a lot of those kids were wearing leisure suits. I didn't even know what a leisure suit is now. They have to go ask their dads.
If we were to graduate from high school.
I know, that's been a while. And so this is an opportunity, even though they're playing Wichita Falls Rider in their home stadium, it's an opportunity for Caprock to really make a statement, much to the way they did last week against Paladuro.
No, yeah, John Travolta won't be there in the white suit, by the way, but I do like that. Hey, you are so right. Rider is a team that Amarillo High played early in the year and beat 35-7. I understand that this is a very offensive-minded team. They run like a wing team. It'll be a rush. So the Rock's going to have to stop the rush, Jon Mark. But their offense, I look for a shootout here, and Caprock's offense all year has responded in games like that.
Which probably will be a shootout, and I think that's the kind of game that Caprock enjoys playing. Speaking of teams and kudos, All 4 Amarillo ISD teams are in the playoffs for the first time ever. We just talked about the 4A teams. Now we've got the 2 5A teams that will be down Lance this weekend in Permian Basin.
Tascosa is going to be taking on Montwood, Ratliff Stadium. Here's a chance for Tascosa, Jon Mark. They've had a two Texas two-step here where they've lost these last 2 games. The San Angelo Central game doesn't bother me personally. Long road trip, nothing on the line. I realize, and they were in that game the whole way. So very challenging Montwood team here, though.
Well, Montwood, they like to spread you out, but really they're a running team, and they've got about a 1,500-yard rusher, and they like to give to him a lot, like to create some space. So it'll be up to Tascosa to try to shut him down and force Montwood to do some things that they don't like.
Speaking of that, is El Paso Coronado, who Amarillo High has in Midland at Grande Stadium. Probably considered one of the best teams in El Paso is El Paso Coronado, Jon Mark.
Yeah, I know they were last year, and I don't think they're quite as good this year. Amarillo High, you always hear about in playoffs, you got to play good defense, and you got to control the ball. And that's 2 of the things they do well. And it's going to be interesting to also see, Lance, because last week their sophomore quarterback, Gabe Rodriguez, kind of hurt himself on the last play of the first half against Coronado. Johnny Hernandez came in and did well, so we'll see who's at quarterback.
Yeah, you want a healthy quarterback in that situation. In fact, probably Amarillo High is a little bit advanced over Coronado this year.
If Amarillo High can do what they've been doing for the last 6 or 7 games that they've been on this kind of a roll, if they can keep doing that, then I think they'll come out on top. Let's go down to 1. There's a grid small. We've looked at 5A and 4A, but there's all kinds of games going on this week. One of the real intriguing games, Lance, and you want to talk about is in 2A, where you've got Bushland, which was in the state finals last year against Wall.
Right, they had that long playoff run, Jon Mark, last year. So you have that experience with these younger guys. They lost a lot of seniors, and Wall is 9-1. We'll kind of throw a wishbone at them. So you have the pure spread versus the wishbone. So you have 2 diversified offenses. Be interesting to see how they try to stop each other.
Yeah. Well, Lance, like I say, there's a slew of games going on this weekend. I know you wish you could wave a magic wand and double your staff right now to get everything covered. But I guess y'all be about as many games as you can, won't you?
We will be in Midland, Jon Mark. We will be in Odessa covering Amarillo High and Tascosa. We will be in Wichita Falls covering Paladuro and Caprock. We will be in Denver City for the Bushland game. Could they not make them farther away? And we will have a correspondent and a photographer in Sweetwater shooting the Randall game.
Have you figured out how many miles that is?
That's a
lot of miles.
That's a number we need to throw out.
And that's just the first round, you know.
But yeah, and we take pride in that. I mean, hey, they're in the playoffs. Let's go reward these guys.
Well, that's what it's all about. You want to try to be there for some historic moments, and may involve some late nights, early mornings, but that's the way it is, and that's why you get.
We really enjoy that. And then we want to talk about our great online coverage all year. And here's the time to really take advantage of us. We will be at the game, so you'll get these quarterback scorer updates at Amarillo.com, Pigskin Review, and then the mobile.
Oh yeah, mobile. You go to m.pigskinreview.com. Boom, you pick it up. You can find out what your favorite team or your least favorite team, how they may be faring each quarter. So it's a great way just to keep up with things while you may be at a ball game or on the road. Well, let's look back real briefly, Lance. We got the Backyard Spa and Adventure player of the week, and this young man, it was a big win for Farwell, and he has certainly had a big role in it. Why don't you tell us about it?
Haven't talked a lot about Farwell this year, but they're right down there by New Mexico, and they've had a terrific year. Knocked off undefeated and third ranked Spring Lake Earth 35-32, and his name is Landry Atkinson. He's their quarterback, Jon Mark. 9 of 14, threw for 147 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then as what you played the game at that level, Jon Mark, most of those guys just stay on the field and play the defense too.
Right.
Knocked down a key pass late in that game to prevent a touchdown for the 35-32
Well, like you say,
victory.
Farwell's 9-1. They've been kind of in the shadows of a lot of these really good 1A teams up here, but as they show, they can play some football, and certainly Landry Atkinson can. And so, Lance, what do you say to him?
I'm saying, Landry Atkinson, you are our player of the week.
Congratulations.
Lightning round.
Well, it's back to the lightning round. It's the special playoff edition. Hey, throw our records out. The teams are throwing their records out. They're 0-0. Thankfully, Lance, so am I 0-0. I think you got me this year.
I might have a little bit, but you're right. Everything is thrown out. The teams have that philosophy too.
All right, well, so we're going to pick some games as quickly as possible, and we'll start with.
Oh man, I'm going with Miami. lost one game all year. I think they've got the weapons to get that thing done.
I think the Warriors are one of the top 5 teams, 6-man in West Texas. I think Miami will win this one. Boy, Stratford, powerhouse. Panhandle struggled this year, but did get in. I think the Elks win. They just grind them down.
Good job, Panthers, getting in the playoffs, but the Elks, up in Dumas, no less, will get that win. Wow, I've got to go with the West Texas High. I think they played in that district, Jon Mark, and played, and did well. So I think they're ready for the playoffs, and they'll beat Quanah.
A little bit tougher district for the Comanches with Stratford and Canadian in there. They'll get Quanah also. Boy, this is going to be a tough one. Dalhart playing good defense. Estacado very explosive. I'm going to go with the slide upset. I'm going to go with Dalhart.
Wow. Stephen Young is going to be buying you lunch, but I love Stephen Young, but the Mats are. I'm rooting for Dalhart. I'm picking Mats from my head. Woo! Jon Mark, I think Borger really has proven that they have established a program there. And I really think they're playoff ready and will get it done.
Well, Rusty Purser in his second year, district champion, playing shallow water.
Bulldogs.
I think Bulldogs win this one.
Woohoo.
If that game were in Amarillo, I think Caprock would win easily. But if it's in Wichita Falls, they'll still win, but by just a little bit. I can't go against the Horns.
I can't either. First time since '75. Isn't that awesome? They've only won one playoff game in school history, Jon Mark. But I think you're right. It's a shootout. 46-45, the Rock. Oh, I think Randall's primed. They had that little slip up at Hereford like we talked about earlier, but no big deal. Randall can handle Lake Dallas.
All right, Gary, I think Lake Dallas is like 5-5. I think Randall wins this one. Boy, this is a pick'em game, but I've got a little blood, little relatives in this one, so I better go with Tascosa. They can win, but they're going to have to play well, but they can win.
Oh, I don't think it's a homer pick at all, Jon Mark. I think if Tascosa plays like we've seen them play at times this year, let's not play like maybe the Amarillo High game or the second half or in Central. But other than that, I think the Rebels will be fine.
Over.
All right, well, we'll be back with a brief update on the playoff picture next week, see who's alive and see who's going on. Until then, we'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.